Hello and welcome to Scrolling with Ceazor. Today is May 21st, 2026. As always, I've got a lot of news for you today, but let's start with the charts. But as always, it's not financial advice. You make your own decisions and you can just take this as entertainment. So, taking a look at the chart, the first thing obviously is that hype jumped today significantly yesterday and today it was up like 10%, and now it's recuperated or pulled back a little bit on its green candle. So two green candles, god candles in the past 2 days. What I've done is I've pulled out some of my USDC from my position, put that stuff to work, and rebalanced a little bit higher. Now, I don't think it's going to continue to go higher, but I do want to stay in range with the hype that I do have still in this liquidity position. This is on Ramses, by the way. So I brought it up significantly. I pulled out a whole bunch of USDC, put that to work elsewhere, and looking at this as it is, it'll probably pull back quite a bit significantly, but I'm not sure. Who knows? This is pretty apish stuff with other things kind of sitting at no major movements. Sonic has a nice big candle as well, but nothing like hype. Gold, let's check out gold. Gold is, a red candle today, but it's still within my range, so I'm still gaining a little bit of trading fees on this. That's nice. ETH is kind of looking bleh, and BTC is also looking sort of the same kind of bleh stuff. Okay, so you can check that out further if you want, but let's move into some of the tweets. So I saw this tweet today. I don't know who this guy is. He's got 600,000 followers though, which is pretty crazy. He says he's a Bitcoin altcoin expert. He's got a Telegram link. So anyways, I don't know how he pulled off 600,000 or 700,000 followers, but he retweeted this out today, and it's pretty significant. You can check out the press release, check out the data, deep dive into this a little bit deeper, but the TLDR is pretty good. So the FBI created a fake cryptocurrency, listed it on Uniswap, hired market makers to pump it, then arrested everyone who said yes. So yeah, basically that's pretty good, I guess. Like if you're a fill and shill pump and dumper and or a market maker that's just doing shady volume stuff, that's great. You get hired by the FBI and then go to jail. I think that's pretty good. We want to reduce some of that crime that is in the space, especially with this kind of stuff. So I'm all for that. I don't know all the details though. There could be something that I'm missing that is significant. But anyway, you can check it out, read a little bit more. So everyone's talking today about David Hoffman talking about how he has dumped all his ETH eventually. Like he's completely out of ETH, and everybody's making fun of him because they believe ETH is going to pump in the near future. I hope they're right, and I hope he's wrong, and I hope he pays with cringe for it. But he's made lots of money, and he continues to do so. They get paid significant amounts of money to have guests on their show, so I think he's going to be fine financially. It's not like he's ruined. But yeah, so that happened. Ryan also has stepped down a little bit from Bankless. He's going to continue to do the podcast with David, but he's no longer going to be doing any management stuff, he says. So that is significant as well. It's kind of like it's breaking apart, but not really. I think David's just kind of going off the hinges here, and maybe he's the next BitBoy. Who knows, right? So moving on. So Kelp has announced that their AG ETH Vault has reopened. Okay, there is a significant loss. You can see the rate change here. So it had been up in RS ETH, so it was positive. It was positive, but they were running those negative carries for a while, and they lost a significant amount of ETH. But you can withdraw. There is some kind of first come, first serve type thing where you might have to end up waiting 15 to 18 days if you are in this vault. But it's good to see that the system that was hacked, the recuperation of the lost funds is healing, and people are getting most of the money back with just tiny haircuts. So that's nice. I like to see that. Okay, Bantake has retweeted out this thing that Wavy did, and so he's got this war room agent that Wavy coded up, and he's like, you just send the war room agent a transaction hash, and then like it'll like dig through it and then give you a report on like what was that hack, what happened, was it a hack, blah blah blah. That's pretty cool. It's obviously an AI bot, and but it's a good way to like kind of get a quick little report on what is this thing, and then if it's significant to you and you can care about it, then you might want to dig deeper, verify what that AI agent is saying, but at least it gives you like a starting point, right? And these are the great things that AI, I find, can do, is they can give you those starting points and then you can verify things. Moving on, so as I was showing earlier, Hyperliquid pumped like crazy, and as a result, Ramses is doing pretty good this week. There's a lot of volume, a lot of trades, a lot of everything's kind of up on Hyperliquid, and Ramses as a result should be doing pretty well for that. Now, moving on. So Frax Finance has added some more incentives to their AAV4 markets. So you can go there and deposit your FRX USD and get a little bit of extra juice from Frax Finance. Okay, 3Jane is a interesting project. I don't use it because I'm not a burger. It's kind of like KYC lending. It's pretty cool stuff. You'd have to dig a little bit deeper than what I'm going to go into to really understand what this thing is. But anyhow, so what they've done here is they've dropped some new things. Basically, they're giving private loans out to warehouses, as far as I can gather. I didn't read through this whole article because I'm not a burger and I'm not going to read through it. But, basically, it allows crypto people to lend to private institutions. There is some KYC stuff in there. So, if you're going to use this, dig a little bit deeper, find out if it works for you. But it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty interesting. And it's like crypto's first kind of credit-based money market. So it's like traditional, use your credit rating to borrow dollars instead of over collateralization, where you put in a ton of collateral and you borrow some dollars. This is a different case where it's just you're putting your risk, your profile, your credit rating profile on on the line and taking out loans and stuff like that. So you can check deeper into this. Okay, so Pharos has dropped a thread here on how to become a plus or A tier stablecoin based on Pharos' ratings. You can go through all of this and kind of see like what makes a good stablecoin and what makes what they consider an A plus type stablecoin, and all of the different kind of metrics that it uses to assess these. I would definitely suggest you check this, especially if you're thinking about putting like, say you have some USDC or some BOLD or FRX USD or whatever stablecoin you have, and it's a pretty good one, and you're thinking of adding it to a liquidity pool with another stablecoin, and you don't know what that other stablecoin is, so you need to do some research on it and see if it's going to maintain its peg, if it's going to rug, if it's going to like what kind of risks you're applying to yourself. Stablecoins are not equal. They're just because they're all worth $1 the doesn't mean that they're all the same, right? Or that they all compare to another, or that they have the same risk profiles. So like I was saying, so check Pharos out, and you can dig in a little bit deeper and find out how do they assess these stable coins and what makes them, what makes a good stable coin good. Okay. Speaking of a good stablecoin is Liquidity BOLD stablecoin. So there's this Dune dashboard that's pretty interesting. So basically they're talking here about borrow rates, blah, 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 but then they go down and say, oh, here's this cool dashboard you can check out. So I did open up this dashboard and I kind of looked through it a little bit, and it's pretty interesting. So this thing's pretty cool. So basically on Liquidity, you can choose your interest rate. If you choose a super low interest rate, you might get redeemed, right? But here is a case where you, like, instead of you choosing it, you can delegate your interest rate management to different protocols, to these interest rate managers, basically. Now they do take a small fee, but they do adjust your interest rate to keep you in a good position. So there are, all of them here, but there are, five highlighted ones. So Boulder Cash has 3 models. And then we have Summerstone and Zero Trove. And it's a good way to assess, like, should you be using, which one of these, like, managers should you be using? And this is versus WETH, of course, so then you'll want to look at the other ones as well, WST ETH or RETH, depending on which collateral you're using, okay? So I think that's pretty cool. I think this is a worthy tool to kind of use. Now, I do run these interest rate managers. I do use one of these interest rate managers for my own personal Trove because I don't want to manage it myself, and I just feel it's easier to let them manage it for me. Okay, the last thing I'm going to say is there's this thing. So Mega ETH hasn't been growing the way it has hoped it has wanted to grow. So after reviewing the terminal data, we've decided to conclude the season early and sunset our terminal program. So the points distributed for week 3 have gone out as normal, and a snapshot will be taken of users' activity to this point. So if you basically, if you're in this ecosystem and you are using the terminal, this is significant news for you. If you are thinking of going to Mega ETH, then you should probably understand this. And I don't want to dig into all of the details of it, but it's kind of sad that adoption hasn't really grown super high here. Like if we do go to, where is it? The Flux. So I thought I had that. Flux Mega KPIs. If we do go to the KPIs, they've only met like 2.7% of their KPIs. So that's kind of sad. They put a lot of effort into this, and it's not a terrible ecosystem. It's not a rug. It's not a piece of junk. It's significant, right? But the market is just not hungry right now. So they're having a hard time getting some growth. So, their growth is up only 5% and so forth. So anyhow, I don't know. So you can dig a little bit deeper, find out if this is interesting to you. But I hope they make it. I do, not because I have got bags. I do have a small amount inside committed mega tokens from my airdrop, but that's about it. And I don't really, I just want them to do well because I don't want an L2 of this significance to fail, right? Anyhow, so that's about it for today. I hope this has been interesting and useful, and thank you for listening, and goodbye.